Hello, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Ali Tarnishi at Ali Dose of Inspiration. And as promised, every Monday we bring guests from all over the world to share a story of hope, rebirth, and resiliency. By sharing that, we're just giving people hope and a blueprint that it can be done. And if you are in this current situation, it's not permanent. If you have the right mindset, if you have the right attitude, you can make it happen. And today I have a special guest all the way from Pennsylvania, and his name is John Vega. John Vega in 2001 sat in a federal prison cell facing 25 years in jail. Once a promising young man with a bright future, now convicted drug dealer, had some serious choice to make. Subsequently, Mr. Vega spent the next decade of his life changing his way of thinking and decided he would spend the rest of his day making sure to the youth did not make the same mistake he made. In 2008, after laying his debt to society, Mr. Vega decided to start mentoring young man in his city by 2010. Vega established mentoring program in Lancaster, York, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. In 2012, he began motivational speaking and has spoken to thousands of youth all over the country. In 2015, Mr. Vega was presented with an honorary doctorate. 2020 began the Antidote podcast on the TCP network. Dr. Johnny Vega story is a story of redemption, restoration, and like his favorite saying goes, an example of how quitting is never an option. Welcome, my friend. I call you Dr. Johnny Vega. Welcome to the show and welcome to Ali Dose of Inspiration.
Thank you, Ali. It's an honor and pleasure to be on the show. Humbled to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thank you, brother.
I'm honored and privileged to have you, my friend, and your story is so powerful. Your story is hope, is rebirth and resiliency, and that's what we want nowadays. We want that hope, to spread hope. People are tired of negativity. People are tired of hearing dark, black stuff all the time. We want to tell them, if you are in that situation, it's not the end of the world. If you have the right mindset, if you are determined, you can do it. And you did it, my friend, John. Tell us about your story, my brother, and let's dive into it and share with this beautiful audience how you made it and how you sharing your passion now with the world.
So like you said, as a youth, as a young man, I made some bad choices. I had every opportunity in the world to be successful, but due to my circumstances at home, due to the atmosphere in my town, I was always attracted to the street life as a young person. Growing up without a father, I don't know if I was seeking love in the street or financially. My mother couldn't afford the things that we needed, so I felt the responsibility to make money at a young age. Excuse me, at a young age. So at the age of 14, I began to experiment with drugs, mainly marijuana. And I've always been the type to, even to this day, I give 120% in everything that I do. So I gave 120% to the drug life. And by the time I was 18, I was a very high-ranking drug dealer in the state of Pennsylvania, as well as other states. So here I was, a young man. At the time, I thought I was on top of the world, but in reality, I was miserable. I was unhappy. I felt an emptiness inside of me. I constantly felt convicted because of the poison I was selling in the streets. And I was unhappy. On the outside, I made it look like I was happy, but on the inside, I was miserable. So I had, at the age of 20, I purchased a nightclub, and it was called the Oz, like the Wizard of Oz, the Golden Road. So I opened up this club, and one day as I was sitting in the club, federal agents ran into the club and attempted to arrest me, but I actually got away. So then I was on the run. From the federal government for 6 months. And as I was on the run, same thing, anxiety went up, depression went up. I was constantly looking over my back. And then one day I was arrested. And when I was arrested, I was charged with conspiracy to distribute 10,000 ecstasy pills. That was the main drug I was selling. So I was facing 25 years in jail. One day when my lawyer came to see me, he said, "Look, you can go to trial, but the feds have a 98.7 conviction rate. So he said, if we go to trial, you're going to lose, and you're going to spend the next 25 years in jail." So he said, "I got another option for you, which is 100 months." I had just turned, I was going on 21. So he basically told me I would come out when I was 30. So as a young man, that shocked me. I was in disbelief that I was going to spend the next decade behind bars. But then one day, as I was praying in my cell, I found a peace, and I went into the scriptures, and I came across a scripture that talked about how gold has to go through the refining process 7 times. Now check out how God works, Ali.
Mm-hmm.
It said in the scripture you have to go through 7 times. My sentence was 10 years, but in the federal system you do 80% of your time. So then that knocked it down to 8 years. I was already, when I had gotten sentenced, I was already in jail 11 months. So they gave me credit for the 11 months. So how much time do I have left? 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
And that's God's number, 7. So I looked around and I said, "Okay, God, I guess this is the furnace, and I have to go through this refining period." And I prayed, and I just asked God to protect me, protect my family during this time that I'm away, and just give me the energy and motivation to renew my mind and change my life. And that's exactly what I did for the next 7 years. I really focused on myself. I changed the way my mindset, and I found a purpose and a passion for the youth. I said, when I get home, after doing this, after paying my debt to society, I'm going to make sure these young people do not make the same mistakes that I made. And I did the time. I came home, and I immediately started working with the youth in my city, and started developing mentoring programs. And I started to do the motivational speaking. And here I am now, 20 years later. Whew, 20 years, brother. 20 years.
Wow, your story is powerful, my brother. It's just, so those 7 years, John, you spent 7 years in the jail.
Yes.
And those 7 years, that's when you found your passion, you found yourself. Those you call the refining year.
The refining years.
To make the golden John.
Pure.
That's right now.
Yes, I came out of jail. Yes.
Wow, mashallah, it's amazing.
Inshallah.
Sometimes, John, I really love this, because sometimes in rejection is God's protection to put us in the right direction.
Correct. In a lot of ways, I look back and I thank God that He did put me in prison, because the type of lifestyle that I was leading, the only other option was death.
Wow.
So in hindsight, looking back, I'm thankful for, even if I could go back, of course I would change what I did, but there's no going back in time. So I thank God that He put me in that position, because it was part of, like you said, the refining of who I am today. So, but when I talk to the youth, I tell them, look, I did 8+ years in jail, so you don't have to. There's things that you and I, Ali, have gone through in life as adults that these children haven't gone through yet. And it's our job, because we've already learned from the situation, to let them know, hey, look, if you keep on making these choices, this is where you're going to end up. And that's what I do. I let them know before they make the mistake, that the mistake is coming if they keep on choosing the lifestyle that they're living.
I love that, John, because what you are doing is really amazing, because the next generation, or the future leaders, is in those kids, in those teenagers. And if they have the good mentor, if they have the good leader that show them this is the wrong way, This
Right.
is, I think, you are doing. They are not going to fall in those mistakes. If John found something when he was 14 years old
Hmm.
and found somebody that will guide him, he won't be losing those 7 years. But it's not really losing it; it's
Hmm.
refining. But
Right.
when you tell people that, it's really show them that this is the way. You
Correct.
decide. I'm teaching you,
Correct.
I'm showing you, and
Hmm.
stay away from that word. And they really love that because
Right.
it take courage, it take vulnerability, and it takes someone with a golden heart to do
Right.
that and serve.
Right.
And for this story, John, when you found your passion, when you found your purpose
Hmm.
in the jail,
Hmm.
what make you said, okay, that's it, I need to switch, I need to change, I need to serve. What is that thing that really click inside of you and they said, okay, this is when I come out from the jail, that's what I will do.
Well, it was two things. It was me staying in contact with my family and friends from home. They would update me on what was going on in my city. And every once in a while, my mother would tell me, hey, so and so got locked up, or, so and so's son got shot, or, and I'm sitting in a cell with my hands tied, literally, not being able to do anything about it.
Hmm.
So I promised myself when I was in the position that God will put me in the position to do something about it, I would. And then the second thing was constantly after years of imprisonment, you see these young men coming into the system, and you look at them, and some of them had worse sentences than me. That you have these young men coming in doing 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, some never getting the opportunity to go home. They're getting life, 19, 20 years old, and their life literally is over. I said, I got to stop this cycle that we're in. I have to try to break this cycle that us as brown and black men, brown and black people, there has been a system set up for us to fail. And that's one of the things that I educate the youth about, is that this system in the United States, in Canada, you have a certain person get caught with a certain amount of drugs and they may get probation. But
Mhm.
then you get this young man that just because his skin is a little, darker, or we have a little more melanin in our skin,
Mhm.
for that same charge, he's getting 5 years or 10 years or 20 years.
Wow.
That's because this system is set up since the beginning for us to fail and get caught up in the system. The kids call it the trap, and that's exactly what it is. It's a trap. So my purpose is for the youth to avoid the system and the trap that's been set up for us to fail.
Mm. I love that. I love that. And now, Mr. John, now is a motivational speaker. You're sharing
Yes.
your story, you're sharing your wisdom, and
Hmm.
you talk at school, you talk at different organization, and you talk about all that stuff, and you just motivate people, inspire them that
Correct.
they have to focus and find their passion and stay away from the bad stuff. Or
Correct. See, with me, when I was in high school, and you could probably relate to this, when you're a young man, especially in the past, your 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 only options are to go to college or go to the military.
Mhm.
You could become a teacher, you could become a doctor, you become a lawyer. When I've noticed in observing the youth, that when these things don't happen, when they don't become the teacher, when they don't become the lawyer, when they don't become the doctor, or they don't make it in a certain sport, they think that they have no other options. And what I do is I teach young people about entrepreneurship. I teach them about developing proper credit. Things that they don't teach in school, I try to implement in my motivational speaking, because I want these young people to understand that whatever they put their mind to, they can succeed in. And it doesn't have to be what society wants us to be. And then I tell the kids or the youth to find out what your gifts are, because your gifts will lead you to your purpose, and your purpose will lead you to your destiny. So a lot of these kids have no idea what their purpose or gifts are. So I really spend a lot of time uh, finding out and seeking what these young people's gifts are, and then taking those gifts and turning it into some kind of business, so that they can not only financially take care of themselves, but they can do something that they're good at and passionate about.
Mm. I love that. I really love that, because you are right, John, because we don't learn at school how to deal with money, how to deal with stuff. You either you succeed or you fail. And some
Right.
people, when they fail, they either end up going the wrong way, or they feel bad about themselves, or they compare themselves to those who succeed, and they said, "Oh, I'm not
I'm
I'm
a
a
failure.
failure. I'm a
Right.
failure." And I really love that, because that's really it's building the entrepreneur. It's
Mhm.
building people, because you are what you are doing. You are a life strategist. That's what you're doing.
Correct.
You're helping those kids to find what they are good at. And
Right.
everyone have a gift. Everyone
Everyone
have
has a
a
gift.
gift. If they have
Right.
the right person to guide them, if they
Mhm.
have the right person to tell them, you're really good at this. You might be good
Right.
at speaking, you might be good at coaching, you might be good at swimming, you might be good at different things, but you need the right person to show you that.
Correct.
That's amazing. And also, when you talk about working on the credit,
Hmm.
that's one thing that's a lot of kids don't realize till they are like they get and try to go to the bank or something.
Right.
Their credit is like
They
at
can't
the
get a
bottom of the
loan,
ocean.
or they mess up their credit before they even get a chance to build it. They get a credit card and charge it up and don't pay it back. Now your credit's messed up, and it's easier to establish credit when you're young and build it up and not mess it up than messing it up and then having to fix it. So we want to avoid having to fix your credit and just build good credit. I have a program where I start it when the kids are 17, and if
Mm,
they finish the program, by the time they're 20, they're in a position to buy a home. They're in a position to, get a business loan if they want to for a business they want to start. So it's a process that I take them through, and I show them how to develop credit. So by the time they're 20, they have A1 credit and they're ready to take on the world.
amazing. That's really a smart way to do it, because when they are 20, that's their life starting, and they are
Yeah,
already ready to go. They want to start a family. They
right.
already have the first step for stability.
Exactly.
Most of the teenagers, they are 19 or 18, and they have children, and they are themselves children. They don't
Correct.
take care of themselves, how they are taking care of someone else. So
Right.
that's why there is like suicide, and there is like drug, or there is different thing following the wrong path.
Right.
And by I think who's that the pyramid is Abraham
Abraham Lincoln.
no Abraham Maslow, or anyway, that the pyramid, that's its go step. If you
Hmm.
you meet all those steps, the
Hmm.
first step is like if you have like a house, safety and security, and you have a place where you can sleep, where you can
Right.
lay down, you have food, you have water. Then you move to the next step, where you have friend, you have family, you have all that stuff. Then you have
Right.
the next step, which is the society, the
Hmm.
reputation.
Right.
So you are building the first step, which is the first step of the ladder of success. And they really
Correct.
love that, because the children need that.
They do. They do.
And I see in 2015, my friend, you were presented with the honorary doctorate for
Correct.
the work you do for the community, the work you do for the society, and I
Right.
would say for the humanity, because that's really something. It's for the humanity, because it's not about selfishness. It's not about you
Hmm.
learn something and you didn't keep it for yourself, but
Right.
don't want to see that happen to other children or to other kids. So you step up and you said, okay, something has to change, and you
Right.
didn't wait for the government or someone else to do it. You took
No.
it by by yourself, and you decide to do that.
Yeah. What I tell people is, if you want change, you have to be the change. Don't go looking to the government. Don't go looking to other organizations. If you really want to change things in your family, in your world, in society, you have to step out in faith and be the change that you want. And that's what I do. I try to uh, show by my actions that I'm truly passionate about what I'm doing. And yes, in 2015, um, praise God, Dr. Clyde Rivers of I Change Nations recognized the work that I was doing, recognized the mistakes. And the beautiful thing about Dr. Rivers is that he recognizes the incarceration as part of my story and the reason why my mentoring and motivational speaking is so effective. So he doesn't look, he says it a great way. He says, I turned my mess into a message. So yeah, in 2015, I got the honorary doctorate and became Dr. Johnny Vega. And that just shows how God is amazing. If your life is in line with what God created you for, he will bless you with things that normally the world wouldn't give you. And that's just the only reason I say praise God, because how can a convicted drug dealer, ex-gang member on top of that, now become Dr. Johnny Vega? And that's because I lined up my life with what God originally created me for.
I love that. I really love that. And Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. A lot of people say
change you want to see.
Someone has to do it. So
right.
Time, someone has to do it. Someone who is that someone? It's me, you,
right.
He, she, and that's what people like. They just been stagnant there, and they're expecting the change to happen. But if you don't really, I read the book by John Maxwell. It's called The Intentional Living.
Oh, John Maxwell is excellent.
It's amazing, and they really called intentional living. And he was talking about how you can be the change. How if you act, don't wait for someone to do it. If you see, for instance, you see like a mess or garbage on the street, and everyone passing by it, and everyone says someone has to do it, someone has to do. But if you initiate it and you start moving, everyone will follow you, and they see, and you become that someone, and you become that change, and the change happened there.
I believe that also. You reap what you sow, and that's universal law. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. So when I was younger, I was always taking, and I thought, that was the way to success. And now that I'm older and realize that being successful means you're constantly pouring out with the expectation that God will fill you back up. So that's my purpose. I constantly, try to speak life into people, because for a long time I spoke death into people. I tried to lift my community up, because for a long time I tried to destroy my community. And I owe it to God, because he spared me. Like I said, I could have been dead in the street. At the age of 17, I was shot in my stomach. I could have easily died then. And just looking back, I'm just thankful that he's put me in this position to effectively help other people see the wrong in the choices that they're making, and give me the ability to help them make the right choices.
I love that. I really love that. And the way I see it, John, or Dr. John, is like from breaking. This story should be from breaking to building the community.
Exactly.
From breaking to building community, and story is from a mess to turning
message.
into a message.
Yes.
And turning your tragedy to triumph, and turning
I like that.
your struggle to success, and you're turning your challenges to change.
Wow, there you go. Challenge to change. And we're in a position to inspire people, motivate people to do the right thing. The world is a really ugly place right now. There's things, injustices going on. What does it say? My favorite day is today. Yes, I like that.
Because we are in today, and a lot of people really like living in the past and saying this my success was in the past, but we are today's children. We need to focus on today and change.
So other than the podcast, Ali, what else are you doing? Let me find out a little bit about Ali.
Ali is the same thing as John. He just turned his mess to a message.
Okay.
Ali went through a lot of struggle in his life as well. I used to be a cab driver. I used to drive a cab, so I see it all.
You saw it all.
I saw it all. I saw drug dealer. I saw fight. I get in a fight. I've been beaten. I beat, and all that stuff. You have people run away from you. So you drive a cab. You put so many hats. You put a psychologist hat. You have to deal with people get in your cab, and you have like a girl get in your cab. My boyfriend just broke up with me. I don't know.
Right.
So you have to be that person, just like to
psychologist.
Sometimes you have to be like also like a cop. Sometimes you have to defend yourself.
Right.
Like can put a knife on you, or put a gun on you, and try to steal your money and stuff like that. So you have only two choices: either to run away or to defend yourself,
or defend yourself. Right.
Sometimes you have to be also like just entertainer, because cab driver mostly work for the tip, or you have to your passenger like have fun and stuff like that. Sometimes you have to be a mentor. So, and I did that for a while, John. And after that, I went through a rough time in my life too, from depression, from different things, divorce, being a single dad, and all that stuff.
Right, I'm in the same boat. Divorce, single dad. I can relate.
Exactly. So I went through that, and I was in refining process as well. So I thank God for everything that I went through, because it make me see things from both way, from the black to the white.
Correct.
If you don't go through the black, or if you don't go through darkness, you can't really taste or relish the beauty of the light, or of the
yeah. So, now we appreciate freedom. We appreciate joy. You know.
And live a fulfilled life, and now I'm living a fulfilled life, because my vision in life, a well-connected, balanced, and fulfilled life. That's my vision in life.
Okay, balance.
A well-connected, balanced, and fulfilled life. It has to give me fulfillment. That's what they do. Not for the fame, not for the reputation, not for the money, but for the significance and the service.
That's a beautiful thing, brother. You're leaving a beautiful legacy.
Exactly. And life too short, my friend. Life too short. Like if we think back, all those rich people, all those, like what Steve Jobs take with him to the grave?
Nothing.
What the other person take? Like all those who died, they have a period. They have a short period. They came naked, and they live naked.
Right.
They take nothing. What they live is just, if they live a nice book that they write, if they live a podcast, that's what we are doing for the next generation, that they can listen to and say, John, wow, that's a nice, living some golden nugget here and stuff like that. So that's really what I'm doing. I am an author. I wrote a book. It's called Just a Cab Driver: My Journey from Behind the Wheel to Behind the Microphone.
Wow, I gotta get the book. You gotta send me a copy. I'll cash app you.
It's all my story there, like from fighting, from running, from psychology, from all that stuff. And I'm an author and coach, emotional fitness coach.
Okay.
And motivational speaker. And the podcast, the Ali Dose of Inspiration. So that's
I love it. I love it.
The show is all about John now. So that's enough about me.
Sorry, I became the host for a second. I'm sorry.
No, that's
the viewers got to know about Ali too, brother.
Exactly. Yeah, it's okay. I take the host back to myself now. Well, since we are talking about the podcast, I see that. John, you start in 2020, the Antidote podcast,
the
CP Network. It's a little bit about the podcast. What's
so the Antidote is my podcast. It's been on over a year now. Been very successful. We just made the transition from Facebook to Roku. So the Antidote will be on Roku. Now, and the premise, or what the show's about, is bringing inspiration, healing, and hope to the viewers. So one of the main things I do, of course, I cover topics that are going on in the world. Like we talked about the pandemic. We've talked about different injustices that are going on in the United States and around the world. But the main thing I do is bring people on that are making an impact in the world. I bring people on that think about others before themselves. People like yourself, like you would be a perfect guest on my show because of the impact you're making in the world.
So I'm getting an invitation live.
What was that?
I'm getting an invitation live.
Yeah, live.
There we go.
Ali, we're gonna bring the book. We're gonna talk about the book. We're gonna talk about everything.
Excellent.
So I really dig deep. I try to dig deep into their lives, and because a lot of people in our position are very humble people. They don't want recognition. They don't want the pat on the back. You know, they don't want they just want to help people. And I'm the type of person that says, look, brother, look, sister, you are doing a great thing and you need to be recognized for that. And sometimes they're a little shy, but deep down inside, it feels good to know that the work you're doing is being recognized. And that's what I do. I honor people and recognize them for the work they're doing. And I bring musical guests on. I have a lot of music on my show. You know, I do like local businesses. I'll go to a local business and support a local business that needs the help with thriving, especially with the pandemic. A lot of businesses are hurting. So yeah, I try not to keep myself in the box as far as the show. I offer a pretty big variety of different subjects, and yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Love it. It's all about support, encouraging, recognition on the good stuff that happen in the community and stuff like that.
Right.
And giving those doses of inspiration or those motivation for those people that they are recognized and stuff like that.
Correct. And now we're international. We're in Canada, you know, Africa, London.
Exactly.
You know, big shout out. Do you know Dr. Rebecca Harper from Toronto?
Rebecca.
You got to meet her. She's in Canada. I was just on her show on Wednesday, and yeah, she has a great podcast. She's out of Toronto. I just did that show the other day, and so that's another thing. I'm a connector. I've always been a connector. So it's a gift that I have where when I meet people, I try to connect. I try to make the connection and see how we all have different visions, but if we align our visions and our passions, I'm big on energy. So I have energy, you have energy. If we
we have that in us, like a cab driver and a former cab driver, a former drug dealer. They know their connection. They know people.
Right. So if we align and bring our energy together, it creates a bigger energy, and it's that type of energy could change the world.
100%, my brother, 100%, and I agree with you 100% because connection is really, because when you have a pure intention and pure connection, God align you with the people that they have the same connection and the same energy. How many times you enter a room and you feel some people as if you know them for years, even if you just meet them the first time.
Right.
And how many times, like somebody you know him like for years, as soon as they step in the room, they suck up that energy from the whole room.
Right.
So it's the connection. It's the vibe. It is the
vibe. Right. I'll give you a perfect example. The other day was Dr. Rivers' birthday. So Psalm, I don't know if you know Psalm.
Yeah, he was in my summit. I organized a summit, and he was one of the speakers.
He's a very good friend of mine. Psalm put together a surprise birthday thing on Zoom for Dr. Rivers. So it was a surprise. So there was about 20 people waiting on Zoom for about 15-20 minutes before Dr. Rivers got on. So we're just talking, chatting, you know, getting to know each other. I knew some of the people already that were in the Zoom. But then I sat back and I talked and I made an announcement and I said, we have 20 different people from probably 10 different continents on this Zoom call. If we would brainstorm and come up with some kind of way that we could work together, imagine the shift that we can make in the world. I mean, just something as easy as that. And it's just a matter of networking and, like you said, aligning that energy and seeing how we could help each other out. I'm big on that.
100%, my brother. It's just that ripple effect. We start that effect, and each one start from where they are. Doesn't matter. You could start from your home. A lot of people say they want to make change. I want to change the world. Make the change in your home.
Right.
Be good with your kids. Be good with your wife. Be good with your community. Be good with your friends. And before you change the world, change your home first. Change your mentality. Change your mindset.
Change your mindset.
In 2020, November, I noticed that there is no connection. There's people shifting away from each other, and I organized a summit with 26 speakers from all over the world.
I saw that.
Under the topic, a journey back to what is holding us back from connecting as one world.
Wow. See, that's the confirmation. That's confirmation. I need to be in the next summit, Ali. Just a heads up.
Definitely, you will be on the next one. So it's amazing. 26 people,
Mhm.
each one from different country,
Right.
share what is holding us back from connecting as one word. And some
Mm.
say the ego, some say like the greed, some say just the perspective. I could see things from different way, and they see things from different way, and
Mhm.
it's amazing. And from that summit, we come up with a book. We call it One. Let's connect. One world, one
Wow.
people.
Wow. That's
And
awesome.
money from that book is going to organization for children,
Mm.
for unfortunate children, that stuff like that. And it's just amazing how 17 authors come together and they devote their time. And the last summit that I just did in February, it was a journey back to our humanity.
Mm.
We are shifting big time for our humanity because
Right.
money becomes something that is just, I want more. You mentioned that earlier and they love it. You said, I used to take, but now I want to give.
Right.
The giver is happier than the receiver, and people don't
Right.
realize that.
People don't realize that.
They said, "Oh, why you keep giving? Why you don't see how much I'm getting?
Right. Right.
I'm getting joy, I'm getting fulfillment, I'm getting happiness, and I'm making change in people's life."
Mhm. Right. And that's
And
a beautiful. That's a
that's
beautiful. People don't realize how powerful it is. It's almost like I hate to say it, but it's almost like a high for me when you take
exactly.
when you take somebody that is in their darkest place and you start speaking life into them. You're great. You can do anything in life that you want to. If you just let go of the pain, you can step into joy. Like, and then they start listening, and then they start moving forward, and then you start seeing that little smile, and then you start, and then they turn their life around, and they never go back to that darkness again. That is, for me, worth more than diamonds and rubies, more than any kind of currency. To see somebody turn their life around is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Mm. And
Mhm.
that's the happiness of the soul, not the
Ex-
happiness of the ego.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
People like they have some people find the value in a big car, like
Mm.
a 100,000 car. But if
Right.
that car crash or break, you see them like they will commit suicide because that's
Right.
what define their value.
Right.
You find someone that have nothing, nothing,
Nothing.
are the happiest people in the world because
Exactly.
they don't attach themselves to material stuff.
Right.
And that's why we should shift like our humanity to focus on what is in people, what is good in people, what is see value in people, not like what is in your pocket, but what is in your heart.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I saw also like John favorite saying goes of how quitting is never an option.
Right. Quitting is not an option. I always tell people, you and I, Ali, have gone through things in life that we had control over, and we've gone through things in life that we have no control over. Now, the things that we do have control over, we need to take command of those things and take control over. But a lot of times, it's the things that we don't have control over that really, really traumatize us.
Mhm.
So, what I tell people is that things in life happen, but at some point, you got to make a choice to tell yourself, I can no longer let this burden hold me back.
Mm.
There's people that have been abused as children. There's been, neglect. There's people that grow up in poverty. But then there's people that grow up in those situations and still become successful in life. Now, everybody's view of success is different, but I tell people, and I tell the youth, it's not even about right or wrong anymore. It's about, do you want to suffer through life or do you want to enjoy life? You have to come to a point in your life where, okay, I got to let go of this depression. I got to let go of this anxiety. Even though so and so hurt me in the past, I have to forgive them. Forgiveness is a big thing. So and that's why I say quitting is not an option, because things in life happen, but quitting should never be part of your vocabulary or even part of the blueprint of your life. Okay, things happen, work on it, get through it, and move forward. Um, I'm a specialist in trauma, and trauma. I tell people that the trauma never goes away. It's the triggers that you have to learn how to control. It's recognizing what your triggers are, and not letting those triggers set you back as far as the trauma that you went through. So that's one of the things. And I'm not a quitter. I keep moving forward. Things happen in life, and you just have to adapt and react. The pandemic's a perfect example. The whole world closed down, but here we are over a year later, and we're still here. It was rough. 2020 was rough. We lost people. Governments were shut down. Businesses were shut down. Even places of worship were shut down. But we didn't quit. And for the people that are still here in 2021, we made it. We made it, and now it's time to move forward and make the best of what God has before us. So quitting's never an option, brother. Quitting is never an option.
No, never quit. We never quit. If you quit on the process, you quit on the result.
Exactly. Sometimes the blessing is right around the corner. You just got to keep pushing.
Exactly. You could be this far from that goal, from that golden nugget. Just keep pushing this far. And I really like when you mentioned earlier about it's not really about telling the children it's not about right and stuff like that. And what come to my mind, it's not about who is right, but it's about what is right.
Exactly. What is right. And we as human beings need to recognize what's right. You're my brother. I'm your brother. Why should we fight or disagree about things that really have no weight in our lives? Like, we should be on the same accord. We should, it's a heart thing. We have to check our hearts. We have to check our intentions, and that's what I see in people. I try to look at a person's heart, not the color of their skin, not their religion. I look at the person's heart and their intentions and treat them accordingly.
Equity is the key, my friend. Equity, like when we treat people fairly and we treat people with the the way they deserve. It's not the way they deserve, but the way as human.
Exactly.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad, said, there is no difference between the Arab and non-Arab except by piety.
Wow.
What is in their soul. It's
exactly.
Like, I am Arab, I am Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Jew. As long you're holding something really good for the humanity, that is what we should judge people for. Not like how much money do you have, or if you are black, or if you are white, or if you are this or this or this. It's things need to change, and we are taking the action, and we are spreading that love, and hopefully we can see the next generation, or the next generation for our children and the children of our children acting and caring for each other, because it all starts from home, starts from school, starts from
society. And a lot of the things that these the racists, the people that are just not good people, this is learned behavior. This is something that's been passed from their father to their father to their father. You're not born with hate in your heart. If you put a Muslim child and a Christian child together, what are they gonna do?
You play.
They're gonna play.
They won't even know what is or you put like a black with an Asian with it, they would play like fun till their father come and say, "Don't play with that black boy."
Don't play. Exactly. And then that's when that first thought, and then he looks at that other child, and that's when he starts to judge him. But before they get that toxic mentality put in them, their hearts are pure, their minds are pure, and all they see is another child that they want to play with.
Exactly. Our podcast, my brother, come to an end. I really don't want to finish. It's a deep, lovely conversation full of
we got to do it. We got to do it again, brother. We got to do it again.
We will do it again, my brother. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your story, for being vulnerable, and for doing what you are doing, because we need people like you, and we need to change maker to make this world a beautiful world.
Thank you,
So
brother.
thank you very much, brother. Ladies
Yes,
and gentlemen, our podcast come to an end. And till then, Ali Dose of Inspiration wish you a good evening. Thank you,
peace.
brother.